Welcome to Let's Talk Sophie Squad. This podcast is a place for open conversations about mental health, resilience, and personal growth. Through stories and discussions with athletes, experts, and advocates, also everyday people, we'll talk honestly about the challenges people face and the ways they continue to move forward. Our goal is to share encouragement, practical insights, and real experiences that remind people that they're not alone. So there's no judgment, there's no stigma, just open and honest conversations in a community that supports each other. So thanks for being here. Let's talk. I'm excited today to welcome one of our guests. She is one of our ambassadors at Sophie Squad, and she's here to help share her story, her perspective, and her experience with us. So let's get into the conversation. Welcome, Julia.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. So to start things off, can you tell us a little bit about where you're from, what your experience is in playing hockey, and kind of go from there?
So I'm Julia. I'm from Montreal. I grew up playing hockey. Well, I started when I was like about 12.
Okay.
And I started in the streets with my brothers and my neighbors. And I played soccer for the longest time. And my parents never wanted me to play hockey because my brother was playing hockey. And then they saw how passionate I was, so they put me in. I didn't really know how to skate, and I loved the goalie position, so I just went straight into it. My mom was like, that's a lot of pressure. Like, are you sure? I don't know if you're going to be good. And then next thing you know, like, I made it to the college level. Went to Clarkson University, did my undergrad there, played for the Golden Knights, and then transferred to St. Thomas for my grad year. Okay. And that's pretty much my story.
And you're in your grad year right now, correct?
Yes, so
okay.
I'm done now, but
Okay. Yeah. Are you still playing?
I declared for the draft, so we'll see how that goes.
Okay, very good. Yeah. Okay, so let's back up for a second. So you grew up in Montreal, right?
Yes.
You said, and you have siblings there that played hockey as well.
Yep.
Was it one brother? Or?
Two older brothers.
Two older brothers that played hockey.
Yep.
Okay, and then you
And
come
then
in
me.
as the young sister,
Exactly.
and you're like, okay.
Yeah.
Did they play goalie too?
No, they were players.
Okay.
The oldest one didn't play for that long, but then the middle one played for a long time, up until juniors. And yeah, when they needed a buddy to play outside, they would throw me in nets and
Cool.
Yeah.
Yep. So that's kind of how you got into it. They're like, well, we need a goalie out here, and
I
here's
always
you.
Yeah, and I always want to prove my brothers wrong, so I
love
was making sure that I competed out there with them.
Good.
Yeah.
Was that more street hockey, or are you talking?
Yeah, like street. Like we would pull out the net in the street, yell car when a car was coming by, move the net. So yeah,
I love it.
Yep.
Okay, very cool. I'm certain that we can all relate to that at some point. That's fun.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so now, so you played D1 hockey at St. Thomas.
Yep.
And transferred from Clarkson, which is upstate New York. Is that
Upstate New
right?
York.
Okay. What was your experience like playing college hockey? I know that there's a lot of pressure, obviously, being a goalie first and foremost, and then being a D1 level athlete's incredible. Can you tell me a little bit about your experience there?
Yeah, so D1 hockey is definitely hard. Any D1 sport, right, or college sports in general. Going into it, you come into a school and you think it's all glamorous and like you think the job is done pretty much. And I remember committing to Clarkson, and I texted one of like my mentors at the time, Kayla Totino, and I was like, oh, I committed to Clarkson. And then she like texted me back. She was like, the hard work starts now.
Yeah.
And I didn't really understand it up until like I got to college, But I had a lot of like great coaches and mentors at John Abbott before I went to Clarkson. So they prepared me super well. And going into Clarkson, it was a very competitive team. They 3 national championships. Like we were always like contenders for the Frozen Four, like trying to get into that. We actually made it to the Frozen Four one year. So it is a lot of pressure, but I think knowing your role on a team and knowing that everyone is in it together, that's like really what I learned throughout the years. Coming to St. Thomas, it was also a little bit different because we were it's a building program. We wanted to build that culture, build that like winning mentality a little bit more.
Yep.
So I would say that my experiences at Clarkson and St. Thomas were a little bit different, but I think I'm the most mature version of myself here at St. Thomas because I've learned a lot at Clarkson that I brought onto here. And we had a younger team at St. Thomas, and I think my coaches put a lot of value into like asking me a lot of questions on like, oh, how things were over there, and like, how can we build this team? How can we like build the culture? And so I don't know. It's definitely a lot of pressure, but you get to manage that and surround yourself with the right people. It was definitely hard at times because, you know, as a competitive athlete, you always think it's your fault, and you always think that like it's never good enough. You know, you always want more. And my mom always tells me, she's like, you won the game. Like, why are you not happy? Or like, you know, it was like, it was a good goal. Like, you know, we lost, let's say 2-1. And
Sure.
And she's like, well, come on, like, you guys had a good game. I was like, I know, Mom, but it's not good enough. Like, at the end of the day, like, you always want to do better. And I think I had to learn that with, you know, sports psych and talk with coaches and, I don't know, ground myself a little bit more and be like, hey, like, there's things I need to let go of. And so I think,
that's that's a really tough thing because you don't get to perform. You know, a lot of people probably don't get to that level in perform without putting pressure on yourself and being like, I have to do better, right? Or I've got to be able to perform. And, but in reality, like that's really taxing at the same time because, you know, that self-talk can be really challenging. So it sounds like you had a really awesome experience at Clarkson. What did you experience there that you kind of brought over to St. Thomas, or what was the lessons that you kind of took out of that?
From Clarkson, I would say like the hard work, and we had a very tight group at Clarkson, our team, and we built our connections off the ice, and that's really what transferred it onto the ice. I would say my sophomore year when we made it to the Frozen Four, everyone accepted their roles. Like, you know, the person that was in the stands was as happy as the first liner that was on the ice. I remember the regional final game to make it to the Frozen Four. We went into 4 overtimes with Minnesota, and I was on the bench at the time. And you know, you go into the locker room after every overtime, and everyone is there like running around trying to get snacks for the girls that have been playing over 60 minutes, and it was like a great atmosphere. And I think that's the team that I always look back to and be like, hey, like, you know, especially when we're struggling at St. Thomas at sometimes, or like last year at Clarkson, like if there were games that was like going through like slumps a little bit, I was like, what does this team need? And I was like going back to my sophomore year at Clarkson, I was like, hey, that team had a lot of character and a lot of friendships, and like it's all about the off ice relationships and personalities, I would say, that translate onto the ice. You know, if you don't have that off the ice, how can you bring that onto the ice with your team? And I think it shows within the chemistry, right? So
yeah, for sure.
But it's not something that you like learn, or it's not something that you teach. I think it's something that's within the group, and if it doesn't connect, it doesn't connect.
Yeah. I mean, I would agree with that, right? That like there is some of that natural chemistry that probably just comes from playing with your teammates, and if it works, it works. The reality is there's also a lot of different personalities that come into a team, and there's beauty in that, but you also have to work at it, right? And probably checking in with each other, forming relationships, like you said, off the ice, spending time together, getting to know each other on more of a personal level, so that when you do have to go out and perform or you have a tough day, it's like you can lean in and help support each other in that moment. So it's great. Okay. So being a student athlete obviously comes with a lot of pressure, like we were talking about, and being a goalie as well. How were you able to balance, you know, hockey, school, friendships, all of those things, your next phase in life, and kind of envisioning that? What'd you do to balance that?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked, because throughout high school, it was very hard for me to do that, because I was very like, okay, like I need to do my homework. I would go home. I would do this, that. And I was very anxious with not getting things done on time.
Okay.
And then I got to college, and everyone was a lot more like relaxed, and they were in the weirdest way possible. Like, let's say after a Saturday game, the girls would like get together and like go out, and I like didn't realize how important that aspect was, because sometimes you just need to let go. Yeah. Right. Or even like after practice on a Wednesday night, just hanging out with your roommates in the living room. It's the little things, you know, that makes a really big difference. Or waking up a little bit earlier, going on a walk with your friend. I don't know. That's something that I learned throughout my college career, like just surrounding yourself with people all the time and going to the rink. And all of the outside distractions are gone. You
Yeah.
know, once you get into the rink, and no matter if you have a test the next day or, I don't know, you homework when you get home. But
Yeah.
just like letting go of everything just being present, I would say. I learned how to be present
Yeah.
throughout my 4 years.
Yeah. And creating relationships, right? And making sure that you're prioritizing
Yeah.
the connections that you have. And,
Yeah.
you know, and I'm very similar in that way of like wanting to sort of be a perfectionist and be like, okay, well, good grades and good
Yep.
things can come if you put in the effort, right?
Yep.
And in reality, like those things are important, but they're not as important as forming a community around you, because life happens
Yep.
and life can be tough. And so when we go through struggles, we have to sort of have those people that we can rely on and have that community. So
Yep.
I love that you spent the time doing that and, you know, really learned that early on in college that like, yeah, I've got to get good grades, of course, but like at what expense, right?
Exactly.
Like, because at the end of the day, the people that you're around and the relationships that you have is really important too.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's
I
a
would
balance.
say, yeah, and I would say like when you're like going through tougher times, like sometimes you just want to isolate and like
Yeah.
you're like, no, I need to get my stuff done first, and then like you forget about the people around you, and it's just like stepping out of your room and just having a conversation with your roommate that's in the kitchen, being like, hey, like this is what's going on, or like just like I don't know, just having the right people around you, and yeah.
Yeah. And taking care of yourself,
Exactly.
right? Like that's everybody deserves that and everybody deserves to take care of themselves and to put themselves around people that they can step out in the kitchen, like you said, and be like, hey, this is, you know, this is how I'm feeling today, or hey, can you talk for a second, or, you know, or even just being together. Do you just want to binge a show together? Like in those simple things are so amazing because it forms that connection and it's like you're holding space for that other person. And when you show yourself that way, people are bound to do the same for you too, right? So that makes a big difference. Mental health is really important. And we talk about that obviously a lot at Sophie Squad. You being an ambassador, know that you're fully in it with us, right? Why did you choose to become an ambassador, and what was important for you from a mental health advocacy standpoint?
So I would say last season, when I was still at Clarkson, I wasn't too busy with school, and I felt like I wasn't doing enough.
Okay.
I wanted to like give back, and I was just like in my room one day, and I was like feeling a little bit down, and I was scrolling through social media, and I saw Sophie Squad, and I don't remember exactly who I saw it from, but I went straight to the Instagram, to the link, and it said that I could like apply to be an ambassador. And I was like, oh, like, let's do this, you know. And I know you guys were out of Minnesota, which is crazy now that I'm in Minnesota around you guys. But, and I went, so yeah, I did the process, and then I got accepted. And I remember going to my teammate Haley Wynn, and I was like, oh, like, you know Sophie Squad? And she was like, yeah, I've heard of them. And I was like, I was trying to get a game at Clarkson, but then it was like too late in the season, and I transferred here. And then, yeah, the rest is history. I got to like connect more with all of you guys and just be a little bit more hands-on.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love that it just came full circle.
Yeah.
You're like social media, you're in the moment, right? And really listening to yourself too, though, and be like, I want to be able to do something more. And so grateful you are, and in here and being able to help support. So we ran an event, I believe, at St. Thomas. Were you around at that time?
Yes, so it was this year against Ohio State.
Okay. Yeah. Were you a part of, did you do anything for the event, or were you just, okay.
So my teammate and I actually like planned it.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Okay. I missed that part. So, okay.
Yeah.
How'd
Danny
it go?
It went well.
Okay.
It was, ironically enough, we played Ohio, and it was not a good game for us.
Okay.
And sometimes you just need to like remind yourself why you play.
Yep.
When in tough games like that. And
Yep.
it was the Sophie Squad game, so I had to like remind myself why I play, and that, you know, at the end of the day, like everything's gonna be okay.
Absolutely. And we talk a lot about that, right? Like it's okay to not be okay. Everything's going to be okay. And so the irony of that, and the reality is every game there's a winner and there's a loser, because that's how games work, right? But when we're out there helping support these events, it's being able to remind people that it's important to check in with your mental health. It's important to check in with your teammates, with yourself, and knowing that, you know, there's some negative feelings or things that could come out of a game in particular, but that's part of the process. And being able to rely on each other is an important piece too.
It is.
So
it is very important.
it's good. Social media has a lot of outside expectations, and you said that you obviously found social media, or you found Sophie Squad based on, you know, scrowing through social media. There's a lot of pressures that come with social media. We know it. There's also a lot of really good things that come out of it as well. How do you personally handle just the balance of pressure and societal pressure, criticism, all of that as well?
Yeah. I definitely had to learn how to handle it.
Okay.
You know, going to Clarkson, they had a very big community, a nice fan base.
Yeah.
And sometimes people had not so nice things to say. And I had to like put that aside. But then other days, people had a lot of nice things to say. So I think I had to find a balance of like being in the middle and not letting anything affect me, whether it was like the nicest comment in the world. You know, I can't be too high and I can't be too low.
Yep.
And I think that's how I tried to manage my emotions throughout my 4 years. And I had to learn that. Like, I think this year at St. Thomas, I had to like be a lot more neutral. And, you know, like if I had a great game, like I had to, you know, bounce back because I was playing the next day. And it was like, okay, like, let's stay neutral. We had a good game. Let's move on. And if I had a terrible game, it was also like, I'm going tomorrow. So like, we have to stay neutral. And no matter what other people think or like whether they think you should play or not, you know what you deserve.
Yeah.
And I think it's all about yourself, whether your coach thinks that you should be in or you should not be in. If you thought you had a good week in practice and you're not going in, well, you should reward yourself with being like, hey, I did everything I could.
Yeah.
And if I didn't play, well, at least you don't have any regrets, you know?
Right.
So I think, it's all about, it's grounding yourself within yourself and not trying to look too much outside expectations or like comparing yourself to other goalies. For example, as a goalie, it's like going on stats or things like that. That's something I didn't do this year. I didn't go online and be like, hey, like who has like good stats and what are my stats? It was like, that's not important to me this year. And that's something that I struggle with in the past. It's like, hey, like, well, these are, I don't know how to explain it, but just, I don't know, trying to.
The comparison.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah. And that's a tough thing because you want to continue to pressure, not put pressure on yourself, but you want to continue to perform.
Yeah.
But with that comes a natural pressure, right? And so, you're naturally sizing up and you're like, okay, what are other people doing?
Yeah.
Like, what's my next goal? What does that look like? But really being careful with the fact that somebody else's performance doesn't really equate to your performance. No. And you might not hear that from a coach, right? Or even teammates or whatever it may be, because there's this natural pressure that comes from wanting to win. You know what needs to happen. But you can't perform at your best level if you're not taking care of yourself in doing what you need to do, which means maybe not looking at those stats because it doesn't really tell the true story.
It doesn't
right?
at all.
So,
or even like within the team or, like looking at what the other goalie's doing, at the end of the day, like what the other goalie's doing doesn't affect you.
Yeah.
So it's like whether your teammate is having a great performance, that doesn't mean you're not going to have a great performance the next day. Like, you always need to be happy for your teammates, and what other people are doing doesn't affect what you're doing.
Yeah.
And that's something I've learned, and just, focus on yourself and be the best teammate that you can be always. And
what a powerful message. Yeah, that's a really, really good reminder, because I think it's so natural for us to put pressure on ourselves, right? Thank you for sharing that. That's fantastic. So senior year, right? We're wrapping up here. Your senior year. What's next for you?
Yeah. So I declared for the PWHL draft.
Okay.
This year. We'll see how that goes. If not, I would also like love to work like within the league if hockey doesn't work out. I'm just so passionate with giving back to the hockey world. You know, they've given me so much. They've given me my whole life, basically.
Sure.
And so many opportunities. And just, so if playing doesn't work, I would love to help within the league and find a job within the league and just help that grow.
Beautiful.
I'd say.
Yeah, giving back and still staying connected.
Exactly.
And, yeah, it's part of who you are, right?
Yes.
And I love that. You know, we wish the best for you, obviously, and I hope that works out. But I also really love that you have spent the time being like, hey, this is what I ideally want. If that doesn't happen, here's the other door that I'm looking at, right? Here's the other opportunity. I want to still stay within this, but it might look a little bit different. And I know that that's probably not easy to process and get there. But really, really a sign of strength is, you know, just being able to take a look at that and recognize that there are a lot of opportunities in this world, and it's really what you make of it. So,
Exactly. I think whatever is meant to happen is meant to happen. you
Yeah.
know? So I'll give it my all, and put, like, when I do something, I always like put the most effort into it, and so we'll see what happens.
And it sounds like you surrounded yourself with some really good people that will
Yes.
support you in your next journey and your next step, whatever that looks
100%.
like. So
Yeah, I have definitely great people around me who always support me and push me and encourage me, and so it's been great. Yeah.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for being here. And
you.
thanks for being obviously an ambassador and helping share your story about Sophie Squad, you know, and your connection to what we do for mental health for athletes. So as we wrap up here, is there anything else that you'd like to share? Anything that we haven't touched on?
No, I think just, you know, within Sophie Squad, just take care of yourself. It's not always easy, especially for a college athlete or any athlete or anyone in the world. Everyone deals with their personal struggles, but there's always help. There's always someone there to, you know, help you. So never, 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 never be afraid to ask for help.
Yeah.
So.
And it's okay to not be okay, right?
It is okay to not be okay.
Yeah.
There's always hope. There's always help, and it's okay not to be okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much, Julia.
Thank you so much for having
Love
me.
having you on.
Thank you.
Okay.